So we know that works, so we can go ahead and get rid of that. Now the properties we need to give the droppable list are, like I was attempting to do before, the hover class. And the hover class is going to, like I said, change the border of this because we've specified a border class inside of our style.css file. And that's just going to be border then. No need to add the dot as you usually would think to do so. So now when we hover an element over this, the border changes to 2 pixels as opposed to 1. So this just ensures that the user knows, yep, that's hoverable there. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to allow only a specific set of elements. So let's just say you had this list embedded on a lot of other content in your page that may or may not be draggable. If you did have other draggable elements, you only want this particular list here to be allowed to be dragged in here, so all li elements draggable inside of this box. So you can either specify a general set or a particular class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to only accept li, and this means that if we have any other draggable objects, they won't be allowed to be dragged inside of this box. So that's extremely important as well. We only want this predefined list to be able to be dragged in there. In actual fact, what we could do is we could, which we should have done, is give these a class. So item, and this a class of item, and this a class again of item. And now what we could do is we could change this except to, item. And now this class here will only be allowed inside of this div area. So you can see that it's still, it's not allowing us there. That's because we need to specify a dot because we're referencing a class on the page. So now that when we drag it over, it's allowed, but any other draggable elements that don't belong to the class item won't be allowed. So that's extremely important as well. Okay, so now that we've done this, we need to create some callback events based on events under this droppable. So what we want to do is we want to create a drop function when something has been dropped. So we comma separate. I'm going to come down a little bit here to make this a bit neater, and I'm going to specify a drop event here. Now the drop event is going to be a function, so we create a function as we normally would, and the contents are going to go in here. So let me just go ahead and alert dropped again. So that works the same way as the example we looked at previously, where when we drop it says dropped. But this time when we actually drop in, we want to take the text associated with the current element we've dragged and append it into this list. So let's leave this part for now. Now inside draggable, when we actually go ahead and start the dragging, we want to set a variable with the text associated with that element. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to comma separate that and come down. And inside here, I'm going to say start. So I'm using the start event, and this is obviously again a function. This time inside here, I want to set a variable called contents equal to this, meaning the currently dragged element. So if I was dragging soya milk, contents would then equal soya milk. If I was dragging bread, contents would then equal bread, and so on with water and any other elements. So this dot text, which takes the text in between the li tag there. So contents will now equal the currently dragged element. So the draggable element, once it starts, we have this variable called contents with the name of it. So then what we can do inside of our droppable list under our drop event, we can actually specify what we want to append into this list. So for example, or not really for example, what we're actually going to be doing, we're going to be appending to list. So list.append, and we want to append contents. Then what we want to do is just append a break onto that contents as well, and then we've got a line break after each one. So now what happens is, as we drag the element, it's released and the contents of that is applied into here. So we can take a look at this at a slightly, lesser working level, and we can go ahead and in here we can just go ahead and alert contents. So once something is dropped in, we alert the name of that. So you can see it working sort of more purely as opposed to appending it. So once we've dragged something, we grab the contents and apply it once we've dropped it into this list. So again, let's change that back to where it was. Okay. So with the way this has been done, we're picking up all I elements and we're making them draggable. We're only allowing elements or li elements or any element with the class item. So it's extremely easy for us to actually just go ahead and create a new item. As long as the class is still equal to item, we can go ahead and create a new item. For example, flower, and we can come back and we've got this new flower element which we can now drag because it is an li element, and we can still append it to this list. So the list really is endless. You can add and append or create as many li elements as you wish, and then these will add to the list. Obviously we've got some styling issues there, but we could go ahead and just change our style, and we could say overflow auto, and as we add items to the list, that would then just create scroll bars for us. So some CSS styling there, and then we have a scrollable list. So obviously in practice this isn't great, because if we were to add soya milk, for example, accidentally twice, we may want it to then say soya milk times 2. We might also want to be able to remove an item, for example. There are ways you can do this, but for now this is just a short example on dragging and dropping lists.